the constantly walking Samadhi. Second, the constantly walking Samadhi is distinctive in its method of practice. That is, one walks while chanting the name of Amida, but the same in length, 90 days. The original text, the Moho Chi Kwan, expands on this in detail, so I shall not outline it here. The half-sitting and half-walking Samadhi. Third, there is a distinct one-volume manual concerning the half-sitting and half-walking Samadhi. It was written by Chi himself and is well known in the world. I shall not repeat it here. The neither walking nor sitting Samadhi. Fourth, there are 3 parts to the section on the neither walking nor sitting Samadhi. 1. Interpreting the name. 2. Scriptural support. And 3. Correct interpretation. Interpretation of the name. Question. Why is it called the neither walking nor sitting? Answer. The above Samadhis exclusively utilize walking and sitting. This Samadhi is different from the above. In order to complete the tetralemma, it is called neither walking nor sitting. Actually, it includes walking, sitting, and all other modes of activity. Scriptural support. Question. What textual support is there for this Samadhi? Answer. The Pan Chavim Sati Sahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutra calls it the Samadhi of the awakened mind. One is perfectly conscious and fully aware of all the tendencies of one's mind. The great master of Nanhui called it following one's own thoughts. When a thought arises, one cultivates Samadhi. Therefore, though 3 names are established, this is actually only one method. Correct interpretation. Question. How many methods of practice are there for this Samadhi? Answer. There are 4. First, with reference to all the sutras. Second, with reference to all good things. Third, with reference to all evil things. And fourth, with reference to all neutral things. The methods of practice found in all the sutras, but not included in the first 3 Samadhis, are contained in the 4th Samadhi of following one's thoughts. Question. What is the meaning of the first? That with reference to all the sutras. Answer. The features of this practice are discussed mostly with reference to the Ching Kuan Yin Ching Sutra on petitioning of Avalokiteshvara. Question. What are its features? Answer. At a quiet location, adorn a place of meditation with banners, parasols, incense, and lamps. Petition images of Amitabha and the 2 bodhisattvas of Avalokiteshvara and Mahastama Prapta, which are placed on the western side. Provide toothpicks and clean water. If beneficial, smear the body with ashes on the left and right. Bathe, be purified, put on a new robe, and begin practice on a ceremonial day. One should properly face in a westerly direction. Throw one's 5-limbed body to the ground. Pay homage to the 3 treasures, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the 7 Buddhas, Shakyamuni Buddha, Amitabha, the 3 Dharanis, the 2 Bodhisattvas, and the Noble Assembly. After paying homage, kneel, burn incense, and scatter flowers. Concentrate your mind with utmost sincerity in the usual manner. When the offering is finished, sit erect with a proper mindset and assume the lotus position. Fix your thoughts and count your breaths, 1 thought for 10 breaths. After completing 10 thoughts, rise and burn incense. For the sake of sentient beings, petition the above 3 treasures 3 times. After this petition, chant the names of the 3 treasures thrice. Then chant the name of Avalokiteshvara. Put together the 10 fingers and palms of the hands and recite the 4-line verses. When this is finished, also chant the 3 sectioned spells, either once or 7 times, depending on the time of night. After chanting, repent and make confession, remembering your own shortcomings. Make these public and be cleansed, and then pay homage to the above objects of petitions. Then one person should climb to a high place to recite or chant the sutra text. The others should listen attentively. In the morning and early evening, this method should be followed. At other times, the regular practices are followed. Question. Second, what is the consideration of all good things? Answer. This is divided into two parts. First is the discrimination of the four phases of a thought, and next is the consideration of all good things. Question. What are, first, the four phases of thought? Answer. The mind and consciousness have no form and cannot be seen, but four features can be discriminated. Previous to the thought, imminent thought, the thought proper, and the completed thought. Previous to the thought refers to the mind before a thought arises. Imminent thought refers to the mind in which a thought is just about to arise. The thought proper refers to the dwelling of a thought due to contact with an object. The completed thought refers to the end of mental contact with an object. If one is able to completely understand these four phases, then one can understand their marks as integrated and their marklessness. Question. In the phase previous to thought, the thought has not yet arisen, and in the phase of thought completed, the thought has already ended. These are integrated and non-dual. If non-dual, they are without marks. How can they be contemplated? Answer. Although the thought has not yet arisen in the phase of previous to thought, it is not ultimately nothingness. It is like a person who has not yet performed an action, but later performs this action. One cannot say that there is no person just because he has not yet performed a certain action. If one determines that there is no person, then who later performs the action? Since there is a person who has not yet performed the action, an action can then be performed. The mind is also like this. Because there is a phase previous to thought, the imminent thought can come to pass. If there were no phase previous to thought, how could one attain an imminent thought? For this reason, although the phase previous to thought does not exist in itself, neither can it be said that ultimately this phase of thought is nothingness. As for the phase of thought completed, a person who has finished an action cannot be said to be nothingness. If one determines that that person does not exist, then who has performed the previous action? The phase of thought completed, the extinguishing of the mind, is also like this. One cannot say that it is an eternal extinguishing. If it means an eternal extinguishing, this is the heresy of annihilationism, the denial of cause and effect. Therefore, though the thought is already extinguished in the phase of thought completed, it can be contemplated. Question. Next, what does it mean to consider good things? Answer. Good things are many, but here they can be abbreviated as the 6 perfections. If one has possession of all the sense objects, he should be even-minded in his perception of them through the 6 senses. If one has no material possessions to practice the perfection of giving, he should perform the 6 actions. Even-mindedness concerning 6 objects and performance of 6 actions together make 12 subjects. Question. What is meant by the 6 senses and the 6 actions? Answer. The perceptions of color, sound, odor, taste, touch, and dharmas are called the 6 senses. The performances of the activities of walking, standing, sitting, lying down, speaking, and silence, eating, or general movement are the 6 actions. This should be known with reference to the above, and I shall not go into detail. Question. Third, what is the meaning of considering all evil things by following one's own thoughts? Answer. The following clarifies the contemplation of evil. Although one first contemplates the good, its obstructions never cease. We drown in our cravings, and there is no time when they do not arise. If we contemplate others, evil is again immeasurable. At times there is much greed. At other times there is much breaking of the precepts, or much anger, or much sloth, or much imbibing of wine. It is easy to lose one's zeal. There will certainly be failures. Who is there who has never made a mistake? Those who have left lay life and practice apart from the secular world, yet are incomplete in their practice and desire to accept the white robe, are not true practitioners. These should cultivate the wisdom of contemplation in the midst of evil, as in the time of the Buddha, when lay people who had wives and children, and government officials, and those with secular duties, were all able to attain the path. In the case of Angulimala, the more he murdered, the more he had compassion. Jeta and Malika drank wine, but kept the other precepts. Vasumitra indulged in sex, yet remained pure. Devadatta's heretical views were ultimately correct. If it had been impossible to cultivate the path in the midst of all that evil, then all of these people would have remained ordinary ignorant people forever. Since the path exists in the midst of evil, though there are many obstructions to practice, one can attain sagehood. Therefore, know that evil does not hinder the path. Also, the path does not hinder evil. The stream winner's carnal desires grew even greater. Palanda was still arrogant. Shariputra became angry. Yet what loss or gain was there in their state of non-defilement? Question. Some people abound in covetous desires, seething with defiled craving. Even if they attempt to overcome and suppress these cravings, they progressively increase. How can they be overcome? Answer. Simply allow one's thoughts to go where they will. How can one know this? If the obstructions to attaining virtue do not arise, one would have no opportunity to cultivate contemplation. It is analogous to a situation in which the fishing line is weak and the baited fish strong, so that it cannot be forcibly hauled in. In this case, one simply directs the baited hook to enter the fish's mouth and then allows the fish to dive or surface freely according to its proximity. It can be gathered in before long. Cultivating contemplation with regard to the obstacles to virtue is the same. The obstacles are like the evil fish, and contemplation is like the baited hook. If there is no fish, the baited hook is of no use. If the fish are numerous and large, so much the better. All will follow after the baited hook and not reject it. The obstructions will give in before long in the attempt to bring them under control. Question. Do not these obstructions and the nature of reality mutually hinder each other? Answer. If the obstructions really hindered the nature of reality, then the nature of reality would be destroyed. If the nature of reality really hindered the obstructions, then the obstructions could not arise. One should know that the obstructions and the nature of reality are indivisible. The arising of the obstructions is indivisible from the arising of the nature of reality. The ceasing of the obstructions is indivisible from the ceasing of the nature of reality. Question. Is there scriptural support for this position? Answer. The Hu Xing Qing says, quote, covetous desire is indivisible from the path. It is the same for anger and ignorance. In this way, all of the Buddha Dharma is contained within these three passions. If a person seeks enlightenment apart from covetous desires, he is as far away from the Buddha's teaching as heaven from the earth. Covetous desire is indivisible from enlightenment. Close quote. The Vimalakirti Nirdesa Sutra says, quote, by practicing the non-way, that which is not the path, one achieves the Buddha's path. Close quote. Quote, all sentient beings are indivisible from the mark of enlightenment, so they cannot attain it again. They are indivisible from the mark of nirvana, so they cannot gain further extinction. Close quote. Quote, liberation is defined for those who are haughty as detachment from lust, anger, and ignorance. For those who are not haughty, it is explained that lust, anger, and ignorance are indivisible from liberation. Close quote. Quote, all the defilements are the seeds of the Tathagata. Close quote. There is no duality or distinction in the color of the mountains or the flavor of the sea. Therefore, contemplate all evil as integrated with incomprehensible reality. Question. Fourth, what is the meaning of contemplating neither good nor evil? Answer. This refers to the dharmas that are neutral and indeterminate. Details are in the Moho Chi Kwan. Question. Why did you avoid discussing the two middle samadhis, yet clarify this samadhi? Answer. The other two samadhis are either limited or require complete cultivation. Only the samadhi of following one's own thoughts can be contemplated constantly by both monks and lay persons. Even though one is burdened with the duties of a royal court, one should not avoid this practice. Thus, I have abbreviated the general meaning from the Moho Chi Kwan.